Okay, it's recording.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I affirm the resolution that the United States ought to guarantee universal health care to its citizens. The following definitions come from the Oxford American Dictionary. Ought, used to indicate duty or obligation. Guarantee, a formal promise or assurance that certain conditions will be fulfilled. Universal health care defined by Norman Daniels as to provide universal access to a broad range of public health and personal medical services. Citizen, a legally recognized subject or national of a state or commonwealth. The best core value in this debate is societal welfare, defined as the happiness, health, and success of society. Society simply cannot function without healthy individuals. In order to uphold societal welfare, a healthy population must be established in order to maximize the happiness of society. I say society a lot. Okay, the government is obligated to protect people's rights, and one of those rights is the right of opportunity. Granting universal health care is a crucial way of upholding societal welfare and individual rights. The value criterion is Rawls' difference principle, which is defined as giving special aid benefiting the least advantaged members of society. The government is obligated to provide for its people, and this includes protecting people's ability to physically live and be a contributing part of the society. If we protect people's opportunities for success, then we will maximize the happiness and success of society. Observation 1. The government is only obligated to guarantee a base level of healthcare coverage to everyone. For example, the government is not obligated to give everyone free nose surgeries if anybody wants one. The point is that the patient is in some need of medical attention and will receive a basic level of healthcare access. Contention 1. Under the veil of ignorance, individuals recognize a right to healthcare. According to Thomas Bodenheimer, an adjunct professor in the Department of Family and Community Medicine, University of California, San Francisco, 2005, the liberal belief in healthcare is a right is based on two varieties of liberal thinking. 1. The social justice argument advanced by Rawls that anyone unaware of his or her position in society would agree with healthcare as a right because it promotes equality of opportunity and is of the greatest benefit to the least advantaged members of society. And 2. The utilitarian view that guaranteeing health services increases the welfare of the greatest number of people. There may actually exist a right of healthcare because under the veil of ignorance, people would want to have healthcare regardless of their position in society. Also, if the total utility in the society is increased, then the opportunities of people within that society are protected, ultimately upholding societal welfare. In addition, according to Bruce Berry, April 14, 2009, professor of management and sociology at Vanderbilt University, health insurance in a civilized society is a collective moral obligation. It's a collective moral obligation, not a discretionary consumer good. It's somewhat analogous to national defense. We strive to safeguard anyone from the unpredictable consequences of an unforeseen tragedy, not just those who can find room in their household budgets to pony up for defense spending. People have a right to health insurance in society not only because it allows them to live to their full potential, but also because it is important to keep people healthy and safe. As a collective society, we have to work together to uphold opportunities for people, and one way to do that is through granting universal health care. As a society, we have deemed it necessary and crucial to keep people good health, and it needs to be done universally. Okay, I'm repeating myself. This right to health care will maximize people's ability to perform in society and improve the society as a whole. Furthermore, according to John M. Cornman and Eric Kingston, universal access to healthcare is a practical road to healthcare reform in terms of improved quality and cost containment. But more importantly, is the right thing to do. At the most fundamental level, universal access should be a moral imperative, a right of citizenship in any country that can afford it. No different from public safety protections and access to primary and secondary education and libraries. It is a basic human right, not a commodity to be bartered in the marketplace, to be made available based on class, race, and social position. Granting universal health care is a fundamental obligation that the government has because its sole purpose is for the people, and therefore must provide access to health care. Health care is something that should be absolute, and there should never be any question as to whether someone receives or is denied care. This is the only way to achieve societal welfare, by providing care for the least advantaged members of society. Ooh, I'm going to be short. Okay, contention 2. Granting healthcare maximizes the welfare of society and protects the rights of individuals. According to Norman Daniels, PhD, Hastings Center Fellow, and Mark Roberts, PhD, health is obviously an important aspect of opportunity because if you are too sick to contribute in society, you are losing your opportunities as an individual. And if protecting opportunity is a social obligation, as many Americans insist and various theories of justice claim, then one can make a strong argument for including universal coverage as part of that obligation. Those who think that the right thing to do is to produce the best consequences can plausibly argue that universal coverage promotes a healthier population and does so more efficiently than our system does now. This provides the public good of financial risk protection by protecting people from the poverty that results when families try to meet the medical care needs of loved ones out of pocket. Daniels and Roberts contend that being healthy is necessary to fulfill personal opportunities, which is a major right the government is obligated to protect. If the government were to provide universal health care to its citizens, then the least advantaged in society are being supported and able to properly function as an individual. This will ultimately protect the opportunities of citizens, maximizing the success and happiness of society. I'm done. Best speech in the world.
Yeah. You know what? You're literally like my favorite person in the entire world.
That's going on. That's going on YouTube. Our other one is on YouTube too. You can see.
Is that? Did you?
I'm judging you. You will be judged.
Good. I'm being judged.
Do I have to pause it?
Yeah. If you can like stop it and then just restart it.
Did you not pause it? Danny, I did skip 14.
How do you pause it?
The artist one.
How do you pause it? Just how do you pause it? Just click the pause button. Just
Okay.
I clicked it again.
What? No, you already clicked it earlier. That,
Go.
Actually, I have no clue what I'm
Press
running.
The red dot
you are
is in
not, Yeah,
Is
you're
it
recording,
filming?
but you're not filming his face.
I don't
You're
care
not-
if it
you're
films
filming
his
his.
No, I
you're
need
filming
my
his
face,
neck.
please.
You're looking at his neck.
My neck is the most disgusting part of me.
Oh my god! Just put it in.
Okay, are we recording now?
It's recording.
Speaking.
Okay.
Oh my god!
It's CX.
Here.
You guys are.
Oh, okay.
You guys are so stupid.
Okay, no, we haven't started yet.
Oh yes, we
Well, it's
have.
recording.
You've
so-
lost in 5 seconds.
Okay, here we go. Okay.
Don't use complicated language like standard. Just say value. Crit.
What's your? Okay. So, can you explain the warrant for societal welfare as the value?
Warrant as in
Why is it good?
because we want to have happiness in society.
Why do we want to have happiness in society?
Because philosophically happiness is a good inherently good thing.
Wait, why is it inherently good?
I don't know.
So what you're saying is there's no real reason why societal welfare is good?
I mean because so I define societal welfare as happiness, health, and success of the society. Obviously,
Yeah, I got
we want to have a healthy population. We want to have a happy.
Wait, well, why is that obvious?
Because it's good.
What if it's immoral and if we achieve that by an immoral means or
Because
an unjust set?
I would say on the affirmative I would contend that by achieving societal welfare that's going to be the moral thing. That morality is defined is measured.
So
by
there's
the
nothing
success.
important besides how society's doing? So an individual's welfare is pointless, is useless?
No, that's what I'm arguing. I'm saying that by having universal healthcare, we're going to be improving the welfare of individuals.
Okay. So due process. How does due process link to societal welfare?
Due process?
Not due process. Sorry, I abbreviated DP. The original position, whatever.
Original position?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
under the in the original
Difference
position-
principle, yeah.
Difference principle. Okay, so under the veil of ignorance, people are unaware of any of their characteristics.
Are you aware that Rawls specifically rejects utilitarianism? That's why he's writing about the difference principle?
I am not aware of that, but I'm not against utilitarianism.
So then how do you conceive of societal welfare if it's not utilitarian?
Because we're going to be benefiting the least advantaged members of society by providing
So you-
universal health care, which is going to be helping the people that are sick who need it.
So what's the link? So due process, or no, sorry. Difference principle means that we help the poor people, but what if we could benefit the rich people but not benefit the poor people? We would do that under societal welfare, but not under the difference principle.
Is that a question?
I'm saying, how do you reconcile between the differences between what societal welfare suggests we should do and what we should do in sort of difference principle?
Look right there if you want to look it up.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, so in your Bodenheimer card, what's the warrant?
Bodenheimer.
Oh, I opened it right to the right.
Bodenheimer. That's essentially he's just talking about the veil of ignorance.
What's the warrant, though?
I mean, he's just using Rawls as an example for why.
Yeah, but there's no
Under
warrant as to why.
the difference principle that by having universal health care, we're going to be benefiting the least advantaged in society.
That's time. This debate's gonna suck. The United States ought to guarantee universal health care to its citizens. Just kidding. Obviously, healthcare, whether it's not as universal, is going to cost resources. This is an exchange of goods and services. One person should not be obligated to pay additional resources to provide aid for someone they don't know if they don't want to. The sole purpose of the government is to resolve conflict between people when rights are violated, not to provide healthcare to people. The best core value in this round is justice, defined as the quality of being fair and reasonable. This spelled blah. The only way to achieve justice is to be fair and reasonable and to give each person what he or she deserves. People have to work for what they want and to get and get to keep what they earn. People are due. God, there's a grammar error per sentence. People are due what they know the
I don't
government will
really
have
care
minimal
about
interference
grammar.
in their lives. They know that they have freedom to be an individual entity to keep the products of their labor. Granting universal health care would give all citizens an obligation to give personal resources for the means of another person. This is not giving people their proper due because they should not have to pay to support someone else if they don't want to. Even more important, the government is not obligated to guarantee this service to all people. The value criterion that best measures justice is individual autonomy, defined by Ayn Rand as every man as an independent, sovereign entity who possesses his inalienable right to his own life, a right derived from his nature as a rational being. Individualism holds that a civilized society or any form of association, cooperation, or peaceful coexistence among man can be achieved only on the basis of the recognition of individual rights. Contention 1. Granting universal health care is beyond the scope of the government. In addition, according to Dr. Cleveland, is a professor of economics and finance at Birmingham Southern College in Alabama, 1994. Our government was not primarily instituted for the purpose of this protection. Its primary role with respect to economy is to punish people who use force and deceit for their own gain. The government is not even allowed should not be allowed to impose this on individuals because it goes against their main purpose of settling disputes between people. If we allow individuals to choose what they feel is in their best interest, then we will maximize individual autonomy and justice because everyone is given their dues that make those choices independently from governmental obligations. Contingent 2. There is no right to health care. The government has a negative obligation to leave its citizens alone. According to Yaron Brook, the president of the Ayn Rand Center for Individual Rights, healthcare is not a right. The fact that someone cannot afford the latest medical test or treatment does not entitle him to force others to pay for it. Just as he is not entitled to a free gym membership on the grounds that it would improve his health. There is a crisis in healthcare, but its causes are government interference in the healthcare system. The solution is to leave doctors, patients, and insurance companies free to deal with each other on whatever terms they choose, not to socialize American medicine. Brooke gives a great example, saying if we truly wanted to have a healthier society, the government would be obligated to provide free gym memberships and many other services for free because it would solve many of the same problems that hospitals currently do in order to create a healthier society. But the government is not obligated to give free gym memberships to provide people and is similarly not obligated to guarantee healthcare to all people. According to Leonard Peikoff, an American philosopher and founder of the Ayn Rand Institute, 1993, we're not born with the right to a trip to Disneyland or a meal at McDonald's or a kidney dialysis. Observe that all legitimate rights have one thing in common. The rights to action, not the rights to rewards from other people. The American rights impose no obligations on other people, merely the negative obligations to leave you alone. The system guarantees the chance that you work for what you want, not to be given it by someone else. You have a right to act and to keep the results of your actions the products you make, or to keep them or trade them with others, if you wish. The only obligation the government has is to respect the autonomy of the people by leaving them alone and resolving conflicts which are violated. In addition, you have to conceptualize all rights as means rights instead of ends rights. The United States government does not guarantee us a right to an end, simply a right to a means. We have a means to access healthcare, however, we are not given necessarily the right to healthcare. Moving on then to attack my opponent's case. Okay, on my opponent's value structure, first off, you have to consider justice as the more important value in this round because it essentially operates as a function that compares systems of morality. Societal welfare, what my opponents are advocating for, is simply one particular system of morality. But any particular system of morality is inherently, what's the word for underneath? Below? No, that's not below. Inferior, that's the word. Inferior to justice, because justice being a government, moral being individual, justice, you try and choose between different forms of morality. Justice is defined as the way by which we can tell between different forms of morality. So, obviously, justice is better than societal welfare. Moving then on to this idea of due process. First off, or not due process, the difference principle. First off, the difference principle has zero link into societal welfare. The difference principle exists as a response to a system where we attempt to achieve societal welfare in Rawls's case. So eliminate difference principle for the very reason that it has no link to any value in this round, except my value, that being justice. But justice is better measured by my value of respecting autonomy. Respecting autonomy, because respecting autonomy is a legitimate thing. It's seen in reality. The difference principle is just a hypothetical world that we're creating to access it. Second attack on difference principle is that people have different conceptions of risk. Even though my opponent can't show that in the difference principle, we would, or under the original position, we would necessarily reject the idea of the risk that we have poor health in order to guarantee that those who are in the upper classes have a greater level of health. I agree with opponent's observation 1 is kind of important. So then moving on to attack contention 1. First off, his Bodenheimer card has zero evidence. He's just trying to explain things in terms of Rawls. But since I've already shown that Rawls and the difference principle is inherently unwarranted, you have to look at this as a useless, pointless thing. The idea of utilitarianism, once again, linking back to societal welfare, is inferior to justice. So if you're looking at this round from justice, you have to look to the negative case to look towards mine. And then my opponent talks about the idea of protection of opportunity. But my opponent fails to ever warrant inside his case why exactly protection of opportunity is good. At the very best, he appeals to a bandwagon, saying that because we would like there to be opportunity, there actually because a lot of people want opportunity. Opportunity is their personal right. However, that's simply not the case. Or even if you do consider that the case, this protection of opportunity is once again a protection to a means, not a protection of an ends. It's the difference between promotion and protection. I'm attempting to protect the right to life. My opponent is attempting to promote it. And in this attempt to promote this right of life, he's inherently attacking the protection of resources. He's inherently attacking I don't know what are you inherently attacking?
I don't know.
He's inherently attacking these individual rights. He's inherently attacking the individual rights of those who give rights. Okay, so then moving on to his contention 2. First off, this has zero link to absolutely anything in this round. This maximization of welfare does not link back to difference principle, does not link back to individual rights, so it has to drop for that. And then I've already talked about protection of opportunity. Without it, make a question clarification, cross-examination.
How's it block that? How does that relate to food?
Just hold on.
Stick his face on non-consent.
Oh, this is my mouth.
Just gonna stand up AR me?
Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay. Why do we wear seatbelts?
That's my attack. You can't use that. We wear seatbelts because it's safe to wear seatbelts. When I get in a car, I want to put on a seatbelt because I know that A, I don't want to die, and B, the emotional harm that I inflict to those around me would be quite severe if I were to, die in a horrible accident.
Isn't currently by law we're required to wear seatbelts?
That's immoral.
Okay. We'll go on to a different question. Okay. So you said that it's to be safe and that in case we get in a crash, we want to make sure that we aren't gonna die, right?
Yeah, but it's an individual choice to wear a seatbelt. The government can't oblige us to wear a seatbelt because once again, that's no longer protecting rights; it's promoting rights.
Okay. So you talk about so you talk about negative rights, right?
Yeah, my case is essentially predicated on the fact that negative rights inherently override positive rights.
Okay, so obviously, so there's this right of opportunity.
Yeah, but
so how are you?
Okay,
how are you
first
able
off,
to,
I
how are
disagree
you able
that
to
there
have
is
opportunity if you're sick and not able to actually do anything? So by that, aren't you actually limiting individual autonomy by not actually?
Well,
being
you
healthy?
assume too much about my case. First off, I reject that there is a right to
Do
opportunity.
you really? I don't know if you do or not.
Yes, I do actually reject.
Where? Show me.
I rejected in attacks on your case.
Oh, but it's not actually in your case.
Yeah, but it's still something that I said in round, so I'm rejecting the right to opportunity. But even if we're going to accept a right to opportunity, we have to look to it towards a protection of rights rather than a promotion of rights. So we protect opportunity. So if you're going to eliminate my opportunity, so if someone else is going to eliminate my opportunity, then it's perfectly fine for the government to step in. But my health is simply detriment. If my health detriments my opportunity, that's not someone else acting to harm my opportunity. If you look towards my Dr. Cleveland evidence, that essentially talks about how Dr. Cleveland is talking about how the government exists to protect, right? It exists to...
Wait, do you have a warrant for that?
Why the government exists to protect?
Yeah. Or no, for the beyond the scope of the government.
My warrant for beyond the scope of the government is inside the Peikoff evidence, right? We're not born with the right to Disneyland. We're not born with a right to a meal at McDonald's or a kidney dialysis. Essentially because it comes down to those impose other things on other people, right? Those are...
Why is that bad?
because those inherently violate other people's negative
But isn't it
rights.
still going to benefit society?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if it benefits society because
Oh, it
neither
does.
of us
It
give
does.
a shit
Oh,
about
believe
society.
me, it does. That's all that matters. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. I would like to take some prep time. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Camera.
Someone want to come pause
Is it
our video
going?
for us?
Is it going?
Yeah, it's still going.
Okay.
Can someone just come press the button? It's kind of hard to go all the way to the other side and press the button, so.
You realize that's on the recording.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
No, actually, nope. I just turned it off. Wait.
Oh my goodness, it's not that hard. You just click the button.
Okay.
Is it going?
Not yet.
What are you doing?
Press a button.
Oh my god, how hard is it to make?
No, it's recording.
Oh my god. What the heck is your problem? Okay.
I just wanted to record that.
You're such an awful person.
Okay. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Anything I just said. Oh, I didn't.
Okay.
click it.
Shh. Silence.
Okay, let's go.
You can just like.
Okay.
Recording the timer.
Okay. For the next speech, that is 4 minutes, I will be defending my case and then attacking my case because I'm super awesome like that.
You're gonna attack your own case?
Wait, did I say attack my own
Yes.
case? Oh, well, I mean attack my... Well, actually, it is my own case. I actually will be attacking my own case.
Oh, okay, ready?
Okay. Okay, so my opponent attacks societal welfare saying that it's bad,
No, I said that,
that it's inferior to justice because it is a single aspect of like morality. But again, the single most important thing that we have to look to is how successful, how happy, how successful the society is, and that is the sole most important thing that we have to look to in this round.
no warrant.
I don't need a warrant. And then my opponent attacked my difference principle, saying that we can't depend on a hypothetical, and that we need to have the reality. But again, this is about what we should do, and Rawls, using the veil of ignorance, is saying this is how we should be choosing how to evaluate our decisions. He is saying this is the way that we need to be making the most moral and justified actions. And so the veil of ignorance and difference principle still stands because it doesn't matter that it's hypothetical, because it's saying what should happen, and that's what the resolution is talking about. That's what LD is about, what should happen, and that's what the veil of ignorance is. So then he says that they might, for the contention 1, saying that there's...
You dropped risk.
Oh no, I was about to talk about that. Oh, and then people wouldn't know the risk. Yeah, I know that's right there. But under the veil of ignorance, people will want healthcare. They will want to be. I mean, nobody's going to want to be just not have healthcare, and so it's inherent that people will want to be able to become healthier and not be sick. Nobody's just going to want to be sick, and so under the veil of ignorance, people, no matter if they don't know their position in society, they will want to have healthcare, so that the risk falls. Because they won't want to take that risk. They'll want to know that there's the safety that, oh man, I'm way slow. Give me a little extra time, okay? Okay, so for contention 1 about veil of ignorance, blah, blah, blah. Again, this is the role of my opponent brought up the negative rights and stuff, and how I didn't link in. But again, this is the role of the government is to protect people's rights. And one of those rights is right of opportunity. And by having universal health care, we will be protecting rights by benefiting and helping the least advantaged members of society, because those are the people that we need to focus on to ultimately uphold societal welfare, because that's going to improve the total happiness of society, because they're not sick. And they're not going to just die because they can't get health care. So then I guess I'll just cross-apply what I just said there to the contention 2, because I don't have any other time. Okay, so now to move on to my opponent's case for justice. Again, what we're going to see is that justice is going to, as fairness, is going to actually flow to the affirmative side, because by benefiting the least advantaged members in society, and again, not knowing your position in society, people will want to have this healthcare and will ultimately uphold societal welfare because it's going to improve the overall happiness of society. So for value criterion, in the negative zone world, he won't be able to uphold individual autonomy if people are sick. If they aren't able to get care, they won't be able to have their autonomy. And so by his very own value criterion, he's limiting autonomy by not guaranteeing healthcare to all people. So then contention 1, beyond the scope of the government, I have a card from Norman Daniels about free markets. I don't really have time, but it essentially says that we can't solely rely on purely
Don't
capitalist.
bring up the name if you're not going to read the card.
Because I have 5 seconds, so I'm just going to say it so that you know that it's right here. So just pretend that I said this. Okay, and then for contention 2, for the no right to healthcare, again, cross-apply what I said to my contention 1, that that the government is obligated to protect people's rights, and that is the right of opportunity. I rest my case.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, that's bad. That was not a very good speech.
You know what? Screw you.
I got you trapped on the difference principle. Really, you don't even have to defend the difference principle. Like, just literally drop DP and move on to the autonomy, because you can win on autonomy. Like, you could literally drop your entire. Oh, I am. I'm gonna go AC NC voters. Ready?
Whoa. AC?
AC NC voters.
What is this? CO constructive. Get it?
You ready?
Yep.
Okay. First off, on the idea of societal welfare, my opponent still has no warrant, so you cannot look to societal welfare as the value in this round because justice is still the most important value in this round. Justice still is the comparative value. It looks towards these ideas of morality, so justice is the ultimate value in this round. Vote on justice. Do not look to the ideas of societal welfare. Second off, ignore the difference principle in this round. My opponent failed to respond effectively to my idea about risk. My opponent says that no one wants to...
risk. I told you I did.
Yeah, you did. You did talk about risk, but your response was wrong.
No, I said that people would.
I'm about to attack your response to risk.
Okay, there we go. Good.
My opponent says that people are gonna reject healthcare because they can be healthcare, or are going to reject being sick. Unfortunately, the fact that we're rejecting being sick is actually violating rights that are necessary under the idea of justice in the of the affirmative world. So if you're going to look towards the protection of rights, then you're going to look towards the rejection. Furthermore, this doesn't necessarily indicate a problem with my risk. In the status quo currently, we have a huge number of people, 84% of Americans actually, who have access to one of the highest quality healthcare systems in the world. Maybe not have the best access in the world, but we do certainly have one of the highest qualities in the world. In the difference principle, you may actually elect for that system where you have such access to such super high quality care. So that was the point of the risk that my opponent really didn't respond to. Second off, on the idea of hypotheticals, my opponent talks about how LD is just about what we should do. Well, what we should do shouldn't be decided by a random arbitrary thought experiment. My opponent provides zero warrant as to why difference principle should be the thought experiment by which we guide our society. Reject this thought experiment in favor of practical rules of society that are only upheld on the negative side, practical rules of society which include the access to and overpowering power of negative rights. And then on the idea of protection of opportunity, I'll return to this talking about voting issues a little bit, but I agree that protection of the right of opportunity is a good thing. I do not, however, agree that the promotion of a right to opportunity is a good thing. For my opponent to win this round, he has to prove that promotion, not protection like his Bonfire card says, not protection like his Berry card says, not protection like his Kingdom card says, is going to actually win this round. You have to look towards the promotion and reject the promotion, because that's the promotion, that's the positive rights, that's what's violating people's rights. Reject that under the framework that the negative provides. So, moving on to that framework, my opponent really does not attack the idea of justice or of autonomy, just claiming that he's actually upholding them on his side, in that he implicitly agrees with a justice autonomy framework. So look towards a justice autonomy framework on this topic. Yeah. So then my opponent says Norman Daniels in attack to my first contention, and just saying the
ignore
word
that.
Norman Daniels
ignore that.
does
Oh
not
my
actually
God.
justify an attack on my first contention. He has just a
didn't have
random claim
time.
and an author. There's no warrant, no impact, so
because I didn't have time to
completely
read
ignore
it.
that. Just because he doesn't have time, that's the way LD works. The AR is a hard speech. You got to get through the entire thing. Then cross-apply my attack on the protection of opportunity onto his attack on my contention too. We cannot look towards the protection of the right of opportunity is a good thing. However, does not necessitate universal healthcare. So moving on then onto voting issues. Now the first of these is looking towards the autonomy framework. Looking at this autonomy framework. This justice autonomy framework, because the difference principle, reject for risk, reject, I've already explained why we should reject difference principle. So you have to look to which side is going to create more autonomy. So first off, the negative right is going to create more autonomy because of this protection of rights versus this promotion of rights argument. You vote negative to protect autonomy. You vote neg to protect the right of opportunity. My opponent has to show that promotion of this right to opportunity is what we should actually be striving for. My opponent has not shown that this promotion of a right to autonomy or this promotion of a right to healthcare is justified in any case. So the protection of rights then flows to the negative side. All of this discussion about rights is a negative. It is negative. So then look to the facts that, as another voting issue.
I'm awesome. Are you done?
No, I'm not done yet. I'm thinking of another one.
Oh, sure you are.
Oh, autonomy. That's a good one. You need autonomy to function in society. You can't obligate the government to provide you gyms, as my opponent would say.
I didn't.
Even though we agreed to his contention, or his observation one, the logical extent of healthcare policy is to the implementation of gyms. It's to the use of to the violation of negative rights. Reject that violation of negative rights. Vote for autonomy. If you like a fair world, if you like a world in which each person is given a right to opportunity and protected, not promoted, that right to opportunity, then you vote for the negative. That's the only thing that the government can do. My opponent fails to attack the right of my opponent fails to defend the right of the government to invade on other people's rights in order to protect your negative rights. So you have to vote negative because negative is the only side that's actually capable of producing justice. It's the only side capable of protecting autonomy. It's the only side which does not violate negative rights.
Even if you agree with your math, I'd say that's your bad design.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go over my voting issues. Okay, so the first voting issue that could you come back? It's really awkward to just be talking. I need some
I'm listening.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I feel like that's worse.
Yeah. I don't know. Because it's kind of just
You need the duality of the...
yeah. It's kind of weird to be debating with not having a person that I'm.
Okay, go.
Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna go over my voting issues. So the first voting issue I want to talk about is autonomy. And so I brought this point up earlier in one of my earlier speeches about how if people are sick, they simply can't function in society. And so by my opponent's very value criterion on the negative, he is contradicting his case by this idea of autonomy, that if we aren't able to be healthy and be able to make decisions to uphold our autonomy, then wait, what am I even saying? Okay, if we're too sick to be able to make any decisions whatsoever, then we are not going to be upholding autonomy. So and the way that we're going to be better upholding this autonomy is on the affirmative, because people will be healthy and we will be able to.
You never prove that people will be healthy.
Oh, but whatever. Okay, so yeah. So then my second voting issue I want to talk about is the value structure and this idea of the veil of ignorance, and how my opponent says that it's this arbitrary and it's not good. But
you
again,
realize I just used that to waste your time, right?
Well, it's annoying. But again, so under this veil of ignorance, if people, Rawls says this is how we should be evaluating our decisions. And again, we have to look to the difference principle that if we are going to benefit the least advantaged members of society, we will ultimately be upholding societal welfare and upholding individual autonomy, as I've proven before, that people will be able to be healthy and make decisions and act as an individual within society. And so by affirming, we will be able to have better societal welfare and autonomy. And yeah. Okay, so then the third I want to talk about is the idea of rights. The government's sole obligation is to uphold rights. And one of those rights is the right of opportunity. And again, back to this whole idea of autonomy, that if people aren't able to have this idea of this right of opportunity because they're too sick, because if you're too sick or too poor to even have the ability to have an opportunity, then that right is not upheld. And so by providing this universal health care, we're going to be upholding this right of opportunity, ultimately upholding the difference principle by benefiting the least advantaged members of society and improving societal welfare, which is good.
Okay,
For these reasons, I can see an affirmative ballot.
I just looked at my phone and apparently Jamie's babysitter is in the hospital, which means that I have to pick up Jamie and I'm supposed to pick him up at 3:30. It is currently 3 or 4. So, a little screwed on that. But
Are you going to be in trouble?
no, because
You okay? Here's your case, Noah.
So did you guys get it all filmed? Do you want me to just
yeah,
walk
we were
this up?
yeah.
Oh, it's still recording.